So I actually have to correct myself about Don't You Like Me because I finished it. I didn't read the extra chapters because I wasn't that interested, to be honest. But I finished the book. I think I'm not going to change my rating. I still think it's a 3 out of 5. It's a shame that I didn't get to experience the story in its full impact because I wasn't able to look at it as an isolated book. I feel so bad for that. I feel so bad. I had no experience with the range of emotion with School Down May, and I went in expecting death and war. I was comparing it to Case File Compendium because that was literally the last book I read, what I binged right before Don't You Like Me. That's why the comparison made sense in my head, but obviously the two are completely different. They're two completely different genres of books. Case File Compendium is a lot more like sci-fi, mafia, crime, death, mystery. It's a lot more plot focused. And then Don't You Like Me is just not like that at all. It's just a silly little story about two boys falling in love while one of them can see ghosts. There is such a huge difference in tone between these two. Personally, I think I prefer more serious books like Case File Compendium. Case File Compendium honestly was made for me. Like, that's my kind of book. Meat Bun in general is really good at writing books that appeal to me. I don't think The Confession was that bad. I was just being a little bit dramatic because I preferred the dynamic they had before The Confession. But The Confession wasn't that bad. I think they were very cute after The Confession and after the relationship was established. I don't think that hurt the story so much. I just have a personal preference for the dynamic that they had before The Confession. I think the only real complaint that I have about the story in Don't You Like Me is the fact that it's so convenient. The main character finds a notebook that his grandpa left for him about a bunch of spells that his grandpa just collected. And for some reason they all work. It's so convenient. It annoyed me a little bit that it was that convenient because that is so unrealistic. I mean, I know the story wasn't really aiming for depth and realism. It was more like a light-hearted comedy romance with supernatural elements. But still, I just couldn't ignore how convenient everything was for the main character. I do think the convenience, especially with the relationship of the two main characters, was a charming point. It was really funny. It was intentionally really funny that all of the odds were against the main character, but also in favor for him to be closer to his roommate. And his roommate being gay was so convenient, so comically convenient. But when it comes to the knowledge on the ghosts and the spells and why can't the main character talk about the fact he sees ghosts with other people? What is the force stopping him from talking about it? What is that? The questions are not really answered. After reading Little Mushroom, though, because I finished volume 1 today, I have to say I really want another fast-paced school romance or something. Because the type of pain I've suffered with Little Mushroom is unique. It's unique. This is like a transition between Don't You Like Me, the correction of my opinion, and the fact that I read Little Mushroom and just finished the first volume. I just realized I was gonna make 2 separate videos about that, but I guess I'm gonna yap about Little Mushroom now. I went into this book blind. I didn't know what to expect. I just heard that it was like a sci-fi post-apocalyptic story about a mushroom. And I figured that the mushroom would fall in love. I honestly thought that there would be a lot more romance and that it might progress a lot faster than it actually did, which is honestly one of the reasons I'm frustrated while reading. It's very light on romance. I've also heard other people say that. It definitely makes up for it with world building. I honestly at first didn't really consider the world building at all because it's also believable. So, the characters. The little mushroom boy, I like him a lot. After he took on human form, I thought that I wouldn't like him so much. Not like I would dislike him, but like I felt more neutral towards him. Specifically because I thought it was kind of boring that he inherited the memories of another human. I thought it would have been more interesting if he was let loose into human society without knowing anything. But he was able to adjust and pretend to be human successfully because he had the memories of another person. I do really like his internal thoughts, however, about humanity and their situation and the structures that they've built. I like that our little mushroom boy talks about them in such a neutral, observant way, because he isn't human. He doesn't consider himself human even after taking on human form, and I really appreciate that in a way. I feel like it could have very easily and very quickly went the route that, oh, now that he has taken on human form and human identity, and now that he's close to a bunch of people, suddenly he wants to be seen as human. But no, he doesn't. He never lost track of his goal to be reunited with his spore. And I think that's very, very nice. I don't know how else to describe it, to be honest. I like that it's not taking a fairy tale approach to everything, and that it's always so realistic, not just about the main character, but about humanity's situation as a whole. I'm going to report back about Little Mushroom when I finished Volume 2, because there are so many thoughts I have. I hope that once I finish the entire novel, that I'm gonna be able to put my thoughts into words better. Also, don't really know if I want to spoil anything in my videos, because I know that some of my friends watch them and they haven't read some of the novels that I'm reading, and I do want my friends to read these books. I want anyone who stumbles across these videos to read the books that I'm talking about. Unless I say that the book sucked, then maybe don't read it.